Hello, everybody, and welcome to Warp Zone's Continue Countdown, the glorious return of our podcast, which hasn't been done in several years now.
A really
Um,
long time.
yes, I am John Scelza, Warp Zone's editor-in-chief. With me is Nicole Klein, our senior editor,
Hi.
and Mike Ryan, one of our staff writers.
Heyo.
We are going to do 9 topics of news that came out in the last week and a half or so in 30 minutes. Let's see if we can do this. All right, let's go.
Ready, go.
Number 1, actually number 9, since we're counting down. Sony announced their Project Morpheus virtual reality headset last night at the Game Developers Conference. Is this going to be able to compete with the Rift, or is this just going to be a thing? What are we going to do? Nicole, what do you think?
I think it can easily compete with the Rift because the Rift it has such a small, set of developers, and they've actually, I wrote an article not long ago, or somebody wrote an article not long ago. I read about it, about the Rift that they ran out of the parts that they needed for the original dev kit, so they were going to stop shipping dev kit 1, which people were saying they were hoping that meant that dev kit 2 was going to start coming out. But I mean, having used the Rift is amazing, but I just feel like Sony's got so much more manpower that, Project Morpheus is going to have a lot more advantage, like, right out the door.
Yeah, Oculus actually announced DevKit 2 last night.
They did?
They
oh,
did.
I'm sorry.
I don't know when the release date is, but they did.
Yeah, I think it's
well,
up
that's
for
really great
pre-order.
news for them.
Okay, pre-order.
Yeah, and I agree as well. I think there's 2 huge factors to see if this is going to be if it's going to catch on, and that's number 1 is price. Because
Right.
I would love to buy this, but I don't know how much I'd be willing to pay for it. I'm thinking maybe $250, I don't know, $300 tops, depending on how good it is. Secondly, is they need to support it.
Yeah.
And bring third parties on board with it and everything. The Move wasn't a bad accessory, but it needed more support. Same with the Vita. The Vita's awesome. It just I want to get more games for it. So I think those are the 2 main driving factors to see if it'll really catch on.
I think I was one of the only people I knew who owned the Move controller before Johann Sebastian Joust came out.
Well, one of the things I actually noticed is in Sony's press release, they don't even say that they're going to release it. They just say, we're doing this, we're going to keep working on it.
Right.
Maybe it'll come out someday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a good move during GDC to excite people about it and make people think about it. And I mean, I feel like they're making all the right steps. They're really getting involved in the indie movement, and this sort of directly competes with Oculus Rift, but at the same time, it's going to draw a lot of people who have already started developing for the Oculus Rift and who aren't really sure where it's going.
It's a good point.
So I think it's a really good move for them on every level.
I also wonder how difficult it would be to upgrade current games like Outlast.
Oh,
that would be awesome to play with that.
Well, one of the demos they're showing is a Morpheus version of Thief, and I don't know how much work went into that, but they are thinking about that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that they've obviously got the manpower and the software to back it all up. So I think this is a great move for them. And this is probably the first time that they've actually come out the door with something ahead of Microsoft and Nintendo in a long time, at least.
Well, there is the Virtual Boy.
Oh, that's true.
Which was an amazing.
You're right.
I can't even
take
finish
back
that
everything
sentence.
I just said.
On that note, let's move on to something else. Sticking with Sony, we've got the Last of Us is becoming a movie. It's being written by Naughty Dog. They're gonna actually be heavily involved in the production, which I think might be a first. Nicole, what do you think of that? Since you played Last of Us last year and apparently loved it.
I think that's an amazing idea. I think especially having Naughty Dog write it, I think they're doing everything right. I mean, the only thing is going to be who are they going to get to play as the characters? I mean, the director's important, but I mean, these are really super iconic video game characters, and I don't know who the hell they're going to get to play them. Because much like with, another Naughty Dog franchise with Uncharted, like I couldn't imagine anybody playing Nathan Drake except for what's his name, Nolan North, and he doesn't look anything like Drake. So, but I just can't imagine not hearing that voice with Nathan Drake. Like it's impossible to me. And Troy Baker just so nailed Joel that I don't know what they're gonna do, but I think it's an amazing idea, and I'm really excited. And I think that your idea about Sam Raimi is a really good one too.
Yeah, I mean, he's producing it, so I would hope they would ask him to direct. I mean, he was going to direct the Warcraft movie, and then he dropped out of that. And I don't actually think he's doing anything right now aside from Army of Darkness 2. So
right,
obviously
I'm not holding my breath for that.
They say they're doing it. He says he's doing it. So if it's that or a Last of Us movie, I want him to do that.
I mean, it's been really interesting to see him mature as a director too, and I think that this would be a really great direction for him to take because it's not, it's not the silly campiness of the Evil Dead series, and it's not what he was doing with the Spider-Man series. But I don't know. I think he could do a lot of good stuff with this.
Yeah, I think it's great that Naughty Dog is so heavily involved because when you get these game IPs and they Hollywoodize them, and look what they did with Resident Evil, and well, the first two I thought weren't half bad, but after that it was just awful.
The first one is so good with those lasers and that evil kid. Oh, it's so good. It's good. It's good by itself. I mean,
Right.
They could have put another name on it, and it maybe would have been better.
Right. So having the developers so heavily involved, because they actually care about the franchise,
Right.
About the game. So having them so involved, I think, could really result in a quality product.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So they are doing the right thing. I think that I'm hoping it'll be something good. I'm sure it will.
Okay. Sticking with Sony again, we'll go down to our next question. Sony has delayed DriveClub for, I believe, the 4th time.
God.
It was originally scheduled to be a launch title. Then it was pushed back to eventually in early 2014, then February. Now, who knows? I think Amazon has it for September.
Oh, that's crazy.
No one's really sure. Mike, does Sony announce their games before they're ready?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because they want to build hype for it. And especially with the PS4, they wanted to put as much out there as possible in order to get as many people on board with it as possible. I think that I think it's I have no problem with the delayed game. There are so many good games already out for the PS4. Plus, we got Infamous coming out on Friday.
Woo!
Yes, indeed. And so the delaying it is only going to make it better. You release it too early, and it's going to be bad. You hold off for a little bit and you fine tune it, tweak it, and eventually it's going to be a great game. So I have no problem with that, and I have no problem with them announcing it early. But the fact that they have to, they keep on pushing it back. That does suck.
I guess, I don't know. Part of me thinks they have such a history of this, with
Gran
Gran Turismo, The Last Guardian. Who knows if that's ever coming out? I mean, it keeps happening, and all these games end up being fine. I just think it makes them look a little silly.
Well, I mean, Mike, I totally agree with what you're saying, that I feel like a game should be delayed. I mean, if a game is going to be delayed, that's totally fine with me. I want it to be the best game it could be. But have you guys been watching all this stuff about Watch Dogs?
Yeah, Watch Dogs really does look incredible, and I know it's...
No. Have you seen the comparisons to the E3 demo and what the demo, like the video that they're releasing now, like how bad it is?
Just like how it was downgraded.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
But the game itself is what looks good.
Oh, but it looks like Gran Turismo. I mean, not Gran. It looks like Grand Theft Auto 4. It looks really bad.
It's a cross-generation game. It's, PS3 and PS4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One. Even the Wii U is in on this. Watch Dogs is not going to be... It's not going to be Infamous.
I don't know, dude. I watched the video of Metal Gear Solid 5, and they did the 361, PS3, PS4 comparisons, and it looks amazing on all 4 systems. And then, like, Watch Dogs just looks awful. Sorry, I got totally sidetracked. I think that Sony should. I don't know what it is with them in racing games. Between
being sidetracked is almost just proof. DriveClub is being forgotten because of all
Yeah,
these delays.
I don't really care about DriveClub. I'm sorry.
They're probably going to come out. It's probably going to announce it at E3 as a Sony mascot kart racer or something.
Oh man.
Oh, did we say Drive Club? We meant something else.
We meant
Dare
Battle
to
Royale
dream.
Kart.
We can only hope.
But it was I don't know who was it. Was it Miyamoto that said what is that? What's that quote? A delayed game is eventually good, but a bad game is always bad. Something like that.
Probably. That sounds like a Miyamoto quote.
I think the quote is, a delayed game will eventually be good. A bad game will always be bad.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Words to live by.
Words to live by. Okay, moving on.
All right.
Let's see. Sega and Creative Assembly have been really kind of pushing Alien Isolation over the last couple of weeks. It looks pretty great, but what can we expect after Colonial Marines?
Well, it's not like they can get much worse.
Oh. Coming out strong.
I loved watching Colonial Marines, just watching it on YouTube, just all the glitches.
Oh man, yeah.
And everything. Those are so funny to watch. But I think with Isolation, I think what really makes it look like it's going to be good is that you've just got it's like hide and seek, and you're just with the one xenomorph, and having I was watching a video on Joystick today where they had somebody was playing it at GDC, and they have that iconic pinging of the motion tractor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just having that, I think, that just really adds to the fear and the intensity of it. I think, if done right, it could really be a great title. As long as they take their time with it and make sure they don't screw it up like they did with the Colonial Marines.
But I guess the thing I think about is no one knew Colonial Marines was bad until it came out.
Yeah.
All the previews, all the demo stations, everything made it seem great. I know Creative Assembly is, thousands of miles away from Gearbox and whoever else worked on that game.
It's not Gearbox, right? It doesn't have anything to do with them, right?
Right, it doesn't, but I worry all the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I think it has a lot of potential to be good. I don't think that we should worry about, because the whole thing about Alien Colonial Marines was that it was like started by one studio and then picked up by another studio, and then there were all kinds of mistakes that happened with that, and it was kind of like a perfect storm. Is that the right word? I think it is right.
That is the right word.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just think that, just because it has the Alien name on it doesn't mean that we have to worry about all those same problems happening.
Mm-hmm.
At least I hope, because it looks really scary and really good.
It does. Okay. I guess that one's that. Moving on. All right, we're leaving Sony, even consoles behind, sort of. The Fulbright company's gone home, which won pretty much every award possible last year that The Last of Us didn't win. It's coming to consoles. Nicole, are you excited?
I actually haven't played the game, but I am pretty excited because I don't really get to play PC games too much. Other than, now that Anthony got a new computer and I have his old clunker, I actually did buy Gone Home and Kentucky Route Zero. They were both super cheap, so I picked them both up, and I just have not had time to play them. And I am really excited. I usually play things on consoles just because that's what I'm more comfortable with. But this game looks and sounds amazing, and everything I've heard from everyone has just been praise. So I am really looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, me too. It's my PC absolutely sucks. I have trouble playing Return to Zork on it. So having it come into consoles, I saw all the interesting things about it. Watched a few videos on it, and it really looks like it's an interesting game. So yeah, as someone like myself whose PC sucks, I'd be more than happy to buy it on a console.
I think it's the secret shame of the entire Warp Zone staff that none of us really play a whole lot of PC games.
Yeah.
So anything.
I've started. I did play Papers, Please. I played Fez on the PC. Anthony and I just beat Torchlight 2, so I'm getting there.
Anything that comes to consoles is good. I mean, anything that breaks down the barriers between PC and console is good, I think. Because they're just...
I mean, I think one of the big things that is breaking down that barrier is the ability to use controllers on your PC.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as soon as they standardized that, now you can use, the same controllers that you use on the PC that you use on your consoles.
Yeah.
Everything worked out. I mean, I remember spending hours trying to get my controller to work playing MDK. Everyone play MDK?
No.
I
Was that just
remember
me?
MDK. Murder, Death, Kill.
Murder, Death, Kill. It was fantastic. I miss it. But yeah.
But yeah, we've played games like Monaco and Hammerwatch where it's like you need to have controllers for those games.
Yeah, I think it's better to not talk about PC games versus console games. Just talk about video games.
Yeah, totally, absolutely.
Like Mike's son says, I like all the games.
Yeah. That boy is very wise.
I've been trying him to become a Nintendo fanboy. He just ain't having it.
That's kind of adorable.
Well, speaking of all the games, lots of people play Angry Birds, and some people think that's silly. I like Angry Birds. And Rovio just announced Angry Birds Epic, a turn-based RPG set in the Angry Birds world. Anybody got any opinions on this? Or am I alone?
You know what? I like it. I think it's going to be good because going back to my son, he loves Angry Birds, and I think having an RPG, especially a turn-based RPG set in that same universe, it's going to make a really good entry-level RPG. Because going back to the first Final Fantasy, I love playing that game, and then going back now, jumping 30 years almost now. And they're just so complex. There's so much micromanagement involved. I think
they're really complicated.
Yeah, just kind of harkening back to the old style of RPGs. I think especially for kids, because that's who the game is aimed at. So I think it's really good to get the kids involved in that genre of games. That way they could kind of move up to some more complex types of RPGs. So yeah, I think it's a good call.
Are you saying that Angry Birds Epic is like a PG version of the South Park Stick of Truth game?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you worried that it's going to be free to play?
No such thing as free to play. It's called free to start. It depends. It depends on what they charge. It depends on how far you can get during the free portion. But I'm normally not one to purchase a whole lot of in-game purchases.
Me neither.
But looking at their history, I'm sure it'll hit consoles. Angry Birds Star Wars, every Angry Birds trilogy, that hit every console known to man. So I'm sure Epic will eventually hit consoles as well. And when you do that, they'll have the whole game included.
That's a good point. Okay, well, we talked about South Park a second ago. South Park is on everyone's mind now that the Stick of Truth has finally come out after many delays, and the demise of THQ. Poor THQ.
Yeah.
So, Mike, is the licensed game back?
I think the licensed game came back with Arkham Asylum, and I think Stick of Truth just cemented it that licensed games can be awesome if done right. I mean, with Stick of Truth, Trey and Matt they were so involved in this game. It took over so much of their life but when you play the end result, it really is amazing to see even some of the smallest references from past episodes, in this game. So, kind of going back to our discussion about the Last of Us. So, I think having the people who created it involved really adds to the quality of it. Going with Arkham Asylum, they had all the original voice cast from the animated series. So I think, the licensed games, they could definitely be good. It just depends on the developer, and it depends on the publisher, because if the publisher's rushing them to get it out by a certain date, it's not going to be good. Look at Thor.
Yeah. Really, I'm kind of surprised, but Activision is actually really great about that. They let Raven Software, I believe, make an M-rated version of Wolverine, and
Mhm.
that game was fantastic.
That game was awesome. Yeah.
And they do great with the Spider-Man games. They stumbled a little bit with the rest of the X-Men games, but I mean,
Even that Captain America, the game that came out, the one that was based on the movie, that wasn't half bad. I was able to finish. It was a short game, but it was still, it was definitely playable and definitely enjoyable. So, I absolutely, I think, but what the good thing about the Stick of Truth is that it really shows these publishers that, these licensed games, you don't have to rush them. They'll be a great game as long as you let the people who care about them, who care about these licenses, get involved. Let them do things their way, not your way. But of course, I'm sure that'll never happen.
well, I mean, with Stick of Truth, it happens occasionally.
Well, yeah. All right, I stand corrected. It'll happen occasionally.
That's more the exception to the rule, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess.
John, don't argue with us. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't play any licensed games at all. I'm sorry. I just realized that looking at my video game collection, I'm like, man, I don't think I own any licensed games except maybe Lego Star Wars, and Lego Batman.
See, more good stuff.
Yeah, the Lego games are really good.
They're not well loved by the rest of the public, but I loved the Force Unleashed games, and
the Force Unleashed games are just so damn fun.
It makes me a little sad that we're never going to get Part 3 when Part 2 ended on such a huge cliffhanger.
I haven't played them all the way through. I played them enough to know that those would be a real time suck.
Yeah, they have their moments.
Yeah.
But what happens to most licensed games is they get traded in, which brings us to our second to last topic.
That was a really good segue. That was really
yes,
good. That was very smooth.
That was smooth. Walmart just announced that they are going to start buying back used games starting next week. Nicole, are you going to start buying some used games at Walmart?
I don't actually buy used games, but I think this is a brilliant move for Walmart. I think hopping in and getting a piece of this pie is a really good idea because GameStop shouldn't be the only game in town. And they haven't been actually for a while because Amazon does it now too.
Best Buy
Amazon's done it for a while, right? Oh, Best Buy does it too? You guys are blowing my mind.
Do. The selection is never good, but they do buy and sell used games.
My friend was telling me how he does it he does the Amazon thing where you print out the shipping label, they pay for shipping, and then you just put it all in a box and send it to them. And I out of curiosity, I started going through some of my crappier games, looking them up on Amazon, and it was like, we'll give you 40 cents for this one. I was like, wow, really? Like, yeah. I think my time is worth more than 40 cents. I'm just too lazy to do this.
Yeah, I went through some of because Best Buy is the same thing. They'll let you, put them in a box, ship them off to them, and they'll give you the money for it. They want to give a quarter for any Rock Band or Guitar Hero game.
Oh, that's crazy. So for Walmart, you have to actually bring it there.
Yes, I think they're going to eventually do online buying as well, but I'm not sure if that's starting up next week.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a smart idea.
Mm-hmm. I know Toys R Us did that for a while.
I think they stopped.
They did? Yeah, they stopped, and I don't know. I've seen used games at my Walmarts for sale. Now I don't know how they obtained those, but I have seen that before. Maybe they just bought them, in bulk or something like that. I'm not sure, but my only concern about buying used games at Walmart would be thinking about the kind of people that would trade in their used games at Walmart.
Yeah, they probably don't treat their games very well.
I'd probably have to get some Clorox wipes to go with them or something.
Oh,
like, you ever buy a game at GameStop and you're like, oh, this looks great. Okay, I'll buy this game. And then you buy it used, and then you open it up and the instruction book is all like
it's covered in food. It's disgusting.
Well, it's what is that? Where it's all crumpled, and so it looks like somebody had it in the toilet with them.
Oh, there's like gum inside of it.
Yeah,
it's just all warped and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very, 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 very infrequently buy used games because I don't want to touch somebody else's games.
Mm-hmm.
I get grossed out. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think I do 95% of my game buying from Amazon, and I don't know. I've gotten out of the habit of going to game stores, even though I've got a bunch of really great local ones. I
only go to GameStop when I have to.
I can't find the energy. Amazon is right there.
Yeah. I mean, with GameStop, it's like if they have a game that is it's like if they have some part of the game that's an exclusive to them, which by the way, can I talk about how much I hate that?
I
Um,
think everybody hates that.
yeah, so that's the only time I'll go there. Or if because sometimes Amazon doesn't do like release date delivery. And I'm like, well, now I have to go to GameStop because I can just get it there.
I
Or
could just
GameStop sometimes does midnight releases.
I could just see the look on your face when you walk into a GameStop. It's just like looking around. Ugh, I don't want to
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah, I like squeeze through everyone. I'm like, don't touch me, don't touch me. I'm like spraying sanitizer on other people. But yeah, I remember the problem with like living in Philadelphia is that they don't often do midnight releases of games, or else I would be all over that all the time. Like Borderlands 2, I think is the only game I've gotten at midnight. And that was like, they took orders at both of the local GameStops because there's one in the Gallery, which is a mall downtown, and there's one on South Street, which is like a huge tourist attraction. And no matter where you ordered it, you had to pick it up at the Gallery location. Or not the Gallery, I'm sorry, the South Street location. So that was like kind of a pain in the ass because it's like, all right, let's go to South Street at midnight on a Monday night. But it was worth it. It was worth it.
Of course it was.
So good.
So now that we've insulted all of our listeners that go to Walmart and GameStop, let us move on to the final topic of the show. Hasbro is updating the official Scrabble Dictionary. Nicole, what word would you add to the official Scrabble Dictionary?
Jawn, Jawn. It's a Philly word. It means thing.
That's what that means?
Like, hey, check out this Jawn.
I see that on Facebook all the time, and I never knew what it meant. And
yeah, that's pretty much it means thing. Yeah, it's a word that I really like. I like that word a lot.
That'd actually be really good points too.
It would be amazing points, right? It'd be so many points.
I'd have Quidjibo.
No Quidjibo. I mean, yes, that's a great idea, but everyone else has already had that idea.
Yeah.
I like
original.
Cromulent and Biggin are both also amazing.
And Bigham, yeah.
Yes, they are both very good.
But what about you, John?
I know.
Oh, sorry. I just realized I said what about you to two dudes I'm not in a room with, so they I was
I had a word. I did. I swear to God I did. And now I don't.
It's gone?
It's gone. It must not have been a very good word. Must not have been very good.
There are some words that I'm like, when I first started, so I got really heavily addicted to Scrabble a couple of years ago. There was like a JavaScript board that you could download. It was through this site called isc.ro. And that was when I learned that a lot of words that I thought were words were not actually words. Like ADE, I thought was a word, which doesn't make any sense because I was like, lemonade is a type of aid. And then I was like, what? That's not a thing. So I would say aid should just become a word, I guess is the moral of the story.
That's not bad.
I don't know why I went there. That was the only one I could think of that I was like, how is that not a word? Is all right considered a word in the Scrabble Dictionary? ALRIGHT?
That might be slang. I don't know if that's in there.
That
either.
is slang. It is slang, so it should not be accepted in Scrabble.
Well, it
now
should
you're making
be.
me want to re-download Words with Friends, which I uninstalled in a fit of rage.
You should. We should play.
Oh, man. Evil tempter.
Well, we bring this topic up because Hasbro is actually asking fans to suggest words, and if you go to the Scrabble Facebook page, you can suggest words. Quidjibo was suggested it within like 10 minutes.
Was it? Okay.
I think so.
Well, see, great minds think alike then.
They do. They do. I guess that is it for the very first.
You couldn't remember your word?
I couldn't remember my word. I will not. I will eventually figure my word out. And
You're gonna wake up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat and just scream out the word.
Probably.
I was just thinking that. That's funny.
That'll be great. Scare the dog, scare the wife. That'll be fun. Oh well. All right, so that is the end of the first episode of Continue Countdown. At the end of any good Continue Countdown, you always get asked to input your initials. So this week's initials, or actually, we don't even know how often we're going to do this. Might be next week, might be 2 weeks. We'll do it again. But the first initials for the first episode are FSJ for First Show Jitters, because we
Yeah,
are
that's
totally winging it, and I think everyone can tell. But I think this went all right.
We'll get nice and blasted next time, so it'll be a lot easier.
That sounds awesome.
Something to keep in mind. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, until next time.